Hi, it's Brett from beautiful Sip and Stitchery in Roscoe, Illinois. I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce myself. I know I've done a video introducing a few of my friends and our teachers, and then also a video of the shop, but I haven't really introduced myself. So I'm Brett. I've met many of you, and I look forward to meeting more of you as the time goes on. I opened this shop with my husband, Chris, which also anyone who's been to the shop, you've probably met him. There's some days and times where he's in and out more, but he is around a lot. And then also, if you've been to the shop, you might have also met my mom, Janet. So those are the three people primarily that you'll see at the shop. During the grand opening, I was fortunate to have some friends that helped us as well. But mostly it'll be me and then also Chris and my mom, Janet. So that's kind of the beautiful team at the moment. I got into stitching through my grandmother. And also if you've been to the shop or watched the tour, you may have noticed some cross-stitch pieces hanging on the wall. Most of those are my grandmother's. So she had been stitching. We have a piece of hers from the 1970s, a sampler that she did. And it was kind of neat at the grand opening. A lady came up to my husband and told him that she had stitched the same sampler for her and her husband in the 70s. So we have that out front. And then we also have a number of her other pieces. I wish that I could still get them. I've had many people ask me if we had the patterns or, but she bought most of her stuff at the time, if I remember right, from, Michael's used to have more kits. Hobby Lobby used to have more kits. And a lot of them were kits. She did do some, patterns and picked fabric. She was mostly an Ada stitcher. But they were a lot of kits, and I've Google image searched to try to see, and I've found a few, but they're like on eBay, and there's maybe one, and so it's not anything, unfortunately, that I can get anymore. But she inspired me when I was a kid. My mom and her had me do a little sampler, which would be considered more free form embroidery. I think it was mostly back stitching than cross stitch, but I did it. I didn't enjoy it. So if you have kids that you're trying to get into cross stitch and they don't love it right away, be patient. So with them, I did finish it, and I'll insert a picture because my mom has it hanging at her house. And then maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, we were going through, a stressful time. And I've had many people tell me the same thing. And I was looking for something that I could do instead of being on my phone, instead of watching TV at night. And I thought, I'm going to pick up cross stitch again. So I just got a little kids kit and I started cross stitching again. And then that was counted. And then I did do a few no count stamped as well. And then I did some Mill Hill and, then just kind of progressed through there. So I don't think I really have a particular style of stitching, although I really do love Halloween stitching, which is interesting because I wouldn't say I'm that big of a Halloween person in general. I don't dress up, and we decorate mostly for fall, not for Halloween at home. But I really, really love Halloween stitching. So that's probably my number one, I guess genre of stitching. But I just kind of stitch what I like. So, and I now obviously see so many more patterns and things, and I want to stitch everything. But I'm a fairly monogamous stitcher. I wouldn't be I have, I think, 3 or 4 works in progress right now. probably only that many because I haven't had a ton of time to stitch with getting everything ready for the shop. But I will show you a few of the things that I have been working on. A couple of them we do have the patterns for. One of them was a stitch along with Forbidden Fiber Company for the Gilmore Girls, which another, I wouldn't call it a hobby, I guess, but another love of mine is Gilmore Girls. It's my, actually my phone case as I look at my phone right now too, but it's also just kind of like what I'll put on at night to relax and stitch. I usually start watching it in the fall and then kind of just watch along throughout the year. But yeah, I'm a big Gilmore Girls fan. So if any other Gilmore Girls fans out there, I don't know if that stitch along she released it or not, like once it was finished to purchase, but I'll link her and you can check it out. I did get the fabric and the fibers from her as well. So I haven't gotten very far on it, unfortunately, but I do enjoy it. Like a perfect night is having Gilmore Girls on and then stitching my Gilmore Girls stitch along too. And I also do have a couple Halloween works in progress as well. Some of them I don't know what the fabric is. I think kind of like in the shop too, you know, one of the things that I enjoy is with someone, usually what I'll do, I'll pull the floss and then, you know, we'll lay it out on different fabrics. And I know a lady that had been in a few weeks ago had posted on Facebook that she ended up going in a totally different direction than she had planned, you know, with her fabric choice, doing that. And you know, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to open a local needlework shop, is because, you know, you just can't do that online. You know, I do, and I have done, like, I guess a consult, could call it, fabric consult with people online. Like I'll send some pictures or do a video, FaceTime, and I'm happy to do that too because it can help. But just to like sometimes, you know, oh, these are the flosses, and then, oh, I'm just going to pick this fabric, you know, you just don't always know how they're going to work together. So in person, obviously it's great because we can pull like different colors and different textures, and then but also online. I mean, I have done it and it's worked out really well. It's fun to do whether in person or online. So you know, always keep that in mind too, that is something that we offer, even if you can't make it into the shop. And I wish everybody could come to visit us. But I know, unfortunately, that's not right. You're not all able to. I was just trying to look to see what this one is that I don't think I have. Oh, Halloween and cross stitch. That's one of my works in progress too. I will hold it up, but I'll also insert a picture because I can't see if this is gonna even fit in the frame with how I'm like have my phone set up. So maybe you can see it, but like I said, if not, I will post a picture too. I took this one, and then I'm also working on, let's see, Halloween Quaker, I think it is, by Luminous Fiber Arts. I love Luminous Fiber Arts too. And I took both of these. So this is my progress on this one. I took both of these. In January, we did our first retreat. I like to joke because I still haven't done a land retreat, but I've done an online retreat, which I did Friend Stitch last fall. And then I did a sea retreat. So I did a Stitcher's Escape cruise. Chris and I went on that in January. It was Jean Farish that runs them. And then Jan Hicks was also there, and Michelle Bendy Stitchy. So it was the first Flosstube at sea. It was a great time. We had so much fun. And these were the two pieces that I took because I guess I'm not like a completely monogamous stitcher, because sometimes if I make a mistake and I have to rip stuff out, I need to just set it aside for a little bit. We need a little break from each other. So I like to have something else kind of going at the same time. Um, but then also, sometimes it's like you just get tired of doing, the same motif or colors and fabric, working on the same thing. So I like to have a couple different things going. And then, oh, my little progress on my Gilmore girls. So, Cat Kirk. But yeah, as you can see, I didn't get real far. But it's on my list because I really enjoy stitching that one, and I love the fabric. We do have some Forbidden Fiber Company fabric in the shop too. I loved at Market, like the 90s, like bright colors, and they look really great with a lot of different types of projects too. Again, it's something that like you might see, and it's just so hard to get the right like lighting and color, and the camera like overcorrects. It's crazy. I never knew how difficult it was to accurately photograph a piece of fabric. But it just can be really hard to get that accurate. And then I think sometimes even when you put the floss on it, it brings out different tones in the fabric too, especially with ones that are modeled. So again, I mean, in person or online, it can really help to pair the two things together, and look at them like that. But anywho, so that's kind of what I'm working on. It's probably like, I don't know if it's, I wish I had more. Actually, I wish I got one of them done and then I could start on something new. And I am still working on a couple little models for the shop too, but those are my personal works in progress. And then let's see, what else about me? So I do have a couple other hobbies other than watching Gilmore Girls. I do love to can. So like maybe 3 years ago, I think, I wanted to make my own jelly. So I kind of like to dive into things. So we go, here we have, where did we go? I think we went to Menards in the Midwest. Menards is like a Home Depot. But they also have like more home type stuff too. Like they have food and some different things. So they have canning supplies. So we went and I bought my water bath canner and I bought all my jars and I got my stuff. And so I made myself, I think I made us some salsa, which is like okay. It's not the best salsa in the world. And then I made some strawberry jam, and I just kind of started with the basics. Well, I was so excited because I was like, oh, you can make your own broth and you can make soup and you can do all this stuff. Well, I didn't know that while some people do use a water bath canner for those things, you are supposed to use a pressure canner. I didn't know the difference. So I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I can make my own soup. I can do all this stuff. Not with my water bath canner. So, and of course I'm like, maybe I'm just like fixating on this and I'm not really going to continue with it. Cross stitch is the only hobby that I have really continued over a period of time, and I love it more now after all the years that I've been doing it. But, so then for Christmas that year, I asked for a pressure canner. And so then I proceeded to basically, my husband says I can everything and he has to watch the animals, which is not true. They're perfectly safe around me. But I do can pretty much anything that I can. So I make my own broths, I make my own soups. I can like some meals in a jar. One of our favorites is beef burgundy, like with mushrooms and wine and bacon. Oh, it's so good. So I just do it because obviously, like if you watched, I am cooking my way through the Nashville Needlework Market cookbook. So I do love to cook. I love to bake. So it is kind of a hobby of mine. And so canning for me is just an extension of that. And it's just really nice to have things on the shelf that, I made. I can control the ingredients, the salt, all that stuff, make things healthier for us. So yeah, I've done, oh gosh, a couple of years ago, I bought, I don't know how many ears of corn, and I made my poor mom and poor Chris come over in the summer, and we set up an outdoor canning station. So then I had to get a special burner so it would work with my pressure canner, and it was really hot, so I didn't want to heat up the house. So we did it all outside. We had little tents, and and everything. And I made like whole kernel corn, and then I did cream corn. And also I make corn cob jelly, which if you can and you do corn, I highly recommend corn cob jelly. You can Google it and you should be able to find a recipe. But then some of the jelly didn't set, so we have corn syrup, basically, which we put on our waffles and pancakes sometimes. But anyway, so that's one of my other hobbies that I really enjoy. It's definitely come in handy doing the shop because we have meals ready to eat. Another hobby of mine is reading, although for the last few years, I wouldn't say I read as much as I listen, but because I love to be able to have my book on and then I can stitch while I listen. Last year was kind of my year of autobiographies. So I've listened to, Prince Harry's autobiography, which was interesting. One of my favorites, and I like, is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. His book from last year, so good. I strangely, because I don't know why my parents let me do this when I was in high school, but I went to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the Foo Fighters opened for them. I think I don't know if I was a junior. I think I was a junior, but my best friend was a freshman in college, and she came back, and we went with another friend that was in my grade. So I was still a junior in high school. Kate and I were juniors in high school. And then my best friend Jamie, she came back, and we so they let my parents let the three of us go to see the Foo Fighters and the Chili Peppers. But I wouldn't say, I actually I do listen to the Foo Fighters, but I'm not a big rock fan. Oh, I do love the Chili Peppers too. But again, I think my musical tastes are as varied as my stitching tastes. It's just if I like it. I don't really stick to a genre. But anywho, so one of my favorite memories from high school, and little known by most people, is that we went to see them in concert. So when I saw his book, I was like, oh, that'd be interesting, because he was in Nirvana too, which I liked Nirvana back in the day. And the book was really interesting, and I really love when they read it themselves, because I think there's something about hearing them recount their experiences in their own voice. So when you read a book, you can hear their voice in your head with the words, but then it's neat to hear the words actually in their own voice. So that was a really, really interesting book, and he's really funny. So I highly recommend that. I can't remember the name of it. I'll try to remember to put it in below, but so I did listen to that last year. And what else? Oh, I listened to Viola Davis's book, which was, again, really fascinating. And then also Minka Kelly from Friday Night Lights is how I knew her, from the TV show, not the movie. She played Lila, the cheerleader. And, it's just interesting because, it's just when you watch the show and, here she's the quintessential, they're in Texas, Southern cheerleader, and her dad owns a car dealership. And so, it's this perfect life. And, basically, and growing up, it's, you think that everybody else's life is always free of problems and, perfect. So that's the role that she plays. And then you listen to her book, and, oh gosh, her home life growing up was just so far from the character that she played. And it's just, I don't know, I've always liked listening to autobiographies. I do like to read Mary Kay Andrews too, beach reads, Elin Hilderbrand, and is it Elin, whichever. And whatchamacallit too. I can't think of it. She writes in South Carolina, coastal. Mary Alice Monroe. Mary Alice Monroe. I love those. So I do kind of, again, sometimes I just go by the cover And then sometimes like I hear about something that I'm interested in, and so my book tastes are pretty varied as well. Um, I think that's most of my hobbies. I would say that I do like plant flowers, but I have to be honest, and I'm not real good about maintaining them. That job usually falls to Chris. And then we also do have 4 furry kids. So we have 3 dogs and 1 cat, who we affectionately refer to as the kids. So Molly is our oldest. I'll put a picture up too of all of us. She's she'll be 14 in November. She's a Yorkie poo. She's only 5 pounds. She's a little spitfire. She's still feisty as ever. She has not slowed down one bit as she's gotten older. Then we have our 7-year-old, our middle child, Sailor. And she's an Aussie Poodle mix. And she is just like, she's so smart. She's too smart for her own good. She's so sweet. She's so sensitive. And she thinks she's little like the others. But she's a great dog too. And then we have Frankie, our baby. He's a pandemic dog. So he will turn 4 in November too. Him and Molly's birthdays are one day apart. So they're almost twinning. And he's a miniature dachshund. Although Sailor was supposed to be like 25 pounds. And a friend of ours actually has her brother. And he is probably 25, 30 pounds. Sailor's 45. So then Frankie was supposed to be between like 8 and 10 pounds. He's like 14. So we grow them nice and strong at our house, I guess. And Frankie's the baby. He's so cute. He has 1 blue eye and 1 brown eye. And then we have poor Liv, our cat, and she's 8. And she's the sweetest cat with the biggest, roundest eyes, the green eyes. She's so pretty. And she tolerates all of the shenanigans from the dogs. And I don't know how she does it, but she stays sweet and she stays mostly patient. Although once in a while she'll give them a little smack. And but those are our 4 kids, and we love them. They're they're quite a crew. And then what else? I think that's mostly. I probably have some hidden talents you don't know about. I was most people don't. I played saxophone growing up, and then also clarinet and a little piano, but mostly saxophone, alto sax. And I was in jazz band and everything. I went to middle school and high school in Florida, in the Panhandle, Fort Walton Beach. Most people are more familiar with Destin now. Destin has just become this whole thing. Any Taylor Swift fans, she gives a shout out to Destin in one of her new songs. Which everyone back there was so excited about. But it's right between Pensacola and Panama City, which most people are familiar with in the Panhandle. So I grew up down there, middle school, high school. Before that, we lived in Pennsylvania. Florida is kind of what I consider my home, because it's where I feel like, I grew up, and I love going down there. So it's one of my happy places. I saw that, oh goodness, Plum Street, I think, yeah, was just down there. And, Last Day in Destin. And, so that's my like place to recharge. And I love going down there. So I was in band, at my school, Choctawhatchee High School. So I loved going to school down there, and I do like to still go back and visit and go to a football game, watch the band. But yeah, so I do play occasionally, so that's kind of something people may not know about me. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to let you get to know me a little bit more, and as we get to know each other more moving forward, I feel so fortunate to have the opportunity to have the shop, to bring embroidery, cross stitch, and freeform, to our community, and who knows what else as we grow and expand. People have asked me what I love most about the shop, and it's really hard to say that there's like one thing, because like I said, I do love helping people, create a project that's their own, like picking different colors for even for the floss, or helping them pick out their fabrics, and but even just providing the supplies to create these items that will be, memories. Like I have my grandmother's, and it reminds me of her. They remind me of her. And I love seeing them, and thinking about the time that she spent and the time that we spent together, while she was stitching, and just talking and watching TV and spending time together, and I think that that's why for me it made sense to have the tea is definitely again influenced by her, because I just always remember her sitting in her chair, and she had her cup of tea, and she had her stitching, and I would just sit and talk to her. She was very patient, listening to me go on and on about my childhood and high school and young adult problems. And, so that's why I wanted to incorporate the tea in the shop too, because I just feel like it's something that goes, together. And for me, it's happy memories. And I love, last week when we had our beginner class, I loved little Louise, coming with her grandmother, and beginning to share in it as well. And like I said, when my grandmother tried to get me to stitch when I was a kid, I didn't love it, but then I came back to it. It planted the seed that then when I needed it, it was there for me. And so I love the community that we are creating. I mean, we're only 7 weeks in. It's hard to believe it's only been 7 weeks. And we've had so many people from local, from out of town, come in. And I love the community of the stitching room. We've already had moments in time where people are sharing, with each other, challenges that they're going through, or, situations that have been difficult or are difficult, but then also sharing in things like birthdays, and celebrating new jobs, and, and like wins, in life. But, for me, what I've found is just that life is always all of it, to say it's ups and downs. It's almost like ups/downs for me. I mean, it's all just there all the time. And so I love just having this space, and it's a safe space for people too, I hope. And that's the goal. I mean, for sure, to be together, and to feel comfortable, and to share, and to, I guess, as I think about it, it's what I felt with my grandmother when she was stitching. I mean, I would sit there and talk about my problems with a boy, or issues in school with, schoolwork, or whatever was going on. And we would sit there, and she would just listen. And I knew that she was there for me, and was supporting me and cheering me on. And, but, so for me, so many times it's just somebody just listening. And so I guess that's, for me, how I feel about the stitching room. And, maybe it's a little deep, but I think that that's why I wanted to make sure that we had a stitching room when we opened, and I want everyone to know that they're always welcome, to come. And so we are also expanding. I told people when we started, it was just kind of to see how it went. So we are also expanding our stitching hours, as well as we move forward, for sure, over the summer, so that everyone can come and spend some time stitching. And even if it's just by yourself, like we've had people just by themselves, and they're like, it's nice to just sit quietly and just enjoy some time alone. So we hope, I hope, and I know my mom and Chris do as well, but that everyone can just feel welcome, and enjoy that same feeling of being a part of this community that we're creating. So anyway, I think on that note, that's been enough. I I usually have a very focused attention span, but not a real long attention span. So I don't know that I enjoy putting on long floss tubes just, to listen to, but I kind of get a little lost sometimes. So my floss tubes probably will be short, but we'll see as we go forward. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I will put, I'll go through and I'll put anything, pictures or any links or anything in in the description below too. So if you have any questions about anything, or you have a question about me, people say they have, I have a weird question. I haven't had any really, I don't think weird ones yet, but if you do have any, please let me know. And thank you all for watching, but also for, coming to the shop, supporting us online as well, and just helping us to create the community that we were hoping to when we opened the shop. So I hope everyone has a great day, a beautiful day, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.